Ever notice how one little comment can instantly make you defensive, angry, or upset? Stay with me, because there's a reason for that.
Why do people become so defensive when they're blamed for something?
I think most of us like to believe we're good, competent people. So when someone blames us, it doesn't just challenge what we did, it can challenge who we think we are. Defensiveness is often the mind's attempt to protect that self-image before we're able to evaluate whether the criticism is actually true. Think about it this way. Imagine someone tells you, you forgot to do this. On the surface, it's just feedback, but your brain doesn't always hear you made a mistake. Sometimes it hears you're irresponsible or you're not good enough. Once that happens, something changes. Instead of listening, we start defending ourselves. We explain, we justify, we interrupt. Sometimes we even get angry before the other person has finished talking, not because we're trying to be difficult, but because in that moment, our brain believes we're under attack. You don't become defensive overnight. Most of us aren't born reacting this way. We learn it. Maybe you grew up in a home where mistakes weren't treated as opportunities to learn. They were treated as something to be ashamed of. Little by little, your brain learned that criticism wasn't something to listen to. It was something to survive. Your brain started seeing it as a threat, learned a simple lesson. If I'm blamed, I need to protect myself. But childhood isn't the only place these patterns begin. Sometimes they're shaped later in life. A relationship where every disagreement turned into an argument. A partner who criticized everything you did. Or maybe a friend who always made you feel like you were the problem. Or even a workplace where every mistake felt like it could cost you. After enough experiences like these, your brain stops waiting to find out whether criticism is safe. It simply assumes it isn't. And that's because your brain has one important job, not to make you happy, but to keep you safe. If being blamed once led to embarrassment, rejection, or emotional pain, your brain remembers. The next time something feels even remotely similar, it reacts before you've had time to think. That's why defensiveness often feels automatic. It's not a decision. It's a pattern. And here's the important part. The person standing in front of you today may not be the person who taught your brain to react this way, but it may feel like they are stepping on an old wound. Your brain can mistake the present for the past. So if today's conversation feels like yesterday's pain, your reaction may be coming from a place much older than the moment you're in. The moment you recognize the pattern, you've already taken the first step toward changing it. The good news is that becoming defensive doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. The goal isn't to never feel defensive. That's probably impossible. The goal is to notice it. Notice what your first instinct is. Maybe you feel the urge to explain yourself right away. Maybe you want to say, that's not what I meant. You misunderstood. But before you defend yourself, try something different. Get curious. Instead of responding with an explanation, respond with a question. Ask, can you help me understand what specifically bothered you? Or what part of what I did hurt you the most? Because sometimes we're so focused on explaining ourselves that we forget to understand how the other person feels. Understanding someone's feelings doesn't mean you're admitting that you're a bad person. It simply means you're willing to see the situation from another perspective. So before you explain, defend, or argue, take a moment, listen, ask questions, try to understand first. When you stop treating every criticism like a threat, people feel heard instead of pushed away. Conversations become easier. Your relationships become stronger and healthier. People trust you more. And perhaps most importantly, you allow yourself to grow. Because growth doesn't come from always being right. It comes from being willing to listen, reflect, and become better.
And if you'd like to understand why people react the way they do, follow the channel for more videos on the psychology behind everyday behavior.
And remember, nothing about you is random.